Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Tuesday, July 13th. Today we will continue to deal with the push of the monsoon with thunderstorms over the southern half of the Great Basin. These storms will be a mix of wet and dry with the better potential for wetter storms in far southern areas of the basin. Further north, again, these storms will be a mix of wet and dry. Yesterday we didn't have a whole lot of precip on the northern fringes, so we will be concerned most about these areas on the northern area of the moisture over parts of central and eastern Nevada into Utah. We'll also see some gusty winds along the Sierra front again today, and also over parts of northeast Nevada up into Idaho and even down into the higher terrain of northern Utah and over into Wyoming. On Wednesday, we'll continue to see again these breezy winds along the Sierra front, most wind gusts between about 30 and 35 miles per hour, and then the continuation of lightning over the central and eastern areas of the Great Basin, with again the best potential for moisture with these thunderstorms over the far south, and areas further north seeing a mix of wet and dry. We will likely see thunderstorms continue on Thursday, but decrease in coverage over the eastern half of the Great Basin, but we could also see some isolated lightning activity on Thursday up into Idaho. Looking at our smoke dispersion here over the next couple of days near the surface, again, we'll continue to see areas of smoke over the northern half of the Great Basin downwind of our fires in Oregon and California. And again, that will continue on Tuesday as well with more of that westerly wind component. Looking at smoke at 6,000 feet, again, very similar, a little bit higher concentration up over the north across Idaho, but still, again, affecting the northern half of the Great Basin with not only smoke aloft, but also those surface visibility restrictions at times. Looking at our weather activity over the last 24 hours, we did have a significant amount of lightning over the southern areas of the Great Basin as that moisture pushed north, and we did have, again, more widely scattered to scattered lightning over parts of central and western Nevada into eastern Nevada, and also an area of lightning up across northeast Utah and into Wyoming. These thunderstorms did have some moisture in the far south, but still some areas had some drier thunderstorms, and then storms were on the drier side on the northern fringes up into Nevada and also over northeast Utah. We did have quite a bit of fire activity yesterday, a lot of new initial attack, especially over the southern area of the Ely district. We also had a new large fire, the Lime Fire in the far south, and we still have the Mudlick Fire up into central Idaho. So again, aside from that, mainly smaller fires reported over other areas of the Great Basin. Over the last 7 days, we've seen very dry conditions, but again, very spotty with lightning activity, but did have that moisture push into the far south. And over the last 14 days, certainly plenty of drier spots across the Great Basin outside of that isolated lightning activity. Our ERCs are still critical across the northern and eastern half of the Great Basin and continue to climb over northwest Nevada as well. Still plenty of areas above the 97th percentile, and even in the far south, we are still seeing ERCs fairly high, but they should be on the decline over far southern areas, both from the moisture yesterday and as we continue with those thunderstorms over the next couple of days. Looking at some of our ERC charts up into Idaho, those ERCs have really skyrocketed with the recent hot and dry conditions, so we are well above normal and obviously well above records even for the time of year over much of Idaho. So a big concern up in the northern areas, and then even across the rest of Utah and Nevada, ERCs continue to rapidly climb and are near records in many areas, but again, we'll be on that downward swing at least for a few days over southern areas. The satellite picture from this morning shows that moisture really mostly concentrated over the far southern areas of Nevada into parts of the Arizona Strip and southern Utah. Further north, we have some cloud cover this morning, but we will see those lightning and thunderstorms continue to increase during the afternoon. For later today, again, we already mentioned where the thunderstorms will likely be located. The main concerns will be on the northern fringe of this moisture, as those thunderstorms will be on the drier side. So we did add areas of high risk or continue high risk in those areas. We will continue to see lightning further south, but again, we should see a little bit more moisture moving into southern areas. Also, those wind concerns today across Idaho, Wyoming, into northeast Nevada and far northern Utah, with those gusty southwest to west winds. We will continue to see breezy winds along the Sierra front, but it looks like right now wind gusts will be marginal for a high risk. So for later today, you can see where we expect those areas of thunderstorms. Again, we will be looking at those northern fringes as those storms will remain on the drier side. And then those wind gusts you can see over the northern and eastern areas of the Great Basin. Looks like most of the wind speeds will generally be in the 30s, with some gusts possibly in the mid to upper 30s later in the afternoon. Looking at Wednesday, we will continue to see that moisture in many of the same areas. Again, areas in the far south will be moistening up with those thunderstorms, so hopefully decreasing fire potential in some of those areas. And then we'll continue to watch these northern fringes for any potential high risk going into Wednesday, but right now it looks like we will at least have some moisture with some of those thunderstorms. Still drier air pushing into northern and western areas. Again, on Wednesday, you can see that lightning activity, possibly a little bit of the moisture pushing further north into parts of central and eastern Nevada and maybe central Utah. But we will be watching again the northern fringes, possibly into northern Ely, Elko, maybe even northern Utah as well for that lightning activity on Wednesday. As far as wind conditions, we will continue to see those breezy winds along the Sierra front. The stronger winds will be located in the central Sierra, but also some breezy southwest winds with that moisture and thunderstorms in the far south. On Thursday, that drier air works its way a little bit further east, pushing that lightning activity mostly over the eastern half of the Great Basin. We could see a few isolated thunderstorms pop up over central Idaho as well, so we'll be watching that, as certainly those fuels are most critical, and those are areas that have been dry and hot recently. So on Thursday, again, most of that lightning activity in Utah. We'll continue to watch those northern areas. If they don't get as much moisture, we may still need some high risk, but for the most part, coverage should be a little bit lower on Thursday and that moisture in the far south. And you can see again that potential for isolated thunderstorms possibly over central Idaho, possibly into parts of Wyoming. So we'll be watching those areas for any potential dry lightning. As we look at the temperature trend, we have seen obviously very hot conditions with near record or record levels here over the last several days. We will see still very hot conditions across parts of Nevada and up into Idaho today, but those temperatures may drop a degree or so as we go into Thursday, especially across Nevada. Still remaining fairly hot across Idaho. Temperatures in Boise will still be in the upper 90s, but we will see those temperatures drop a little bit into Utah as well. Forecast amounts of precipitation, you can obviously see the better chances of any wetting rains will be in the far south, so that will certainly be beneficial, hopefully to areas of the Arizona Strip into southwest Utah. Other areas, not quite as much precip, so we'll continue to watch that lightning. Going into Friday, the dry air continues to push east, still some isolated lightning activity likely across Utah. And then going into Saturday, that dry air just continues to push eastward, and that trend will continue through the weekend. So we will likely see decreasing lightning coverage, and then we'll start to see some of those areas of Utah and the Arizona Strip that receive moisture start to dry out. And then as we go into Monday, we might see another return of moisture, possibly pushing some activity into western areas of the basin, but still dry over much of the region going into early next week. Forecast amounts of precipitation really not much different than the 3-day, since most of those thunderstorms here producing moisture will occur in the next few days. And then the 8 to 14-day outlook taking us into the end of July, from the 20th through the 26th, showing above normal temperatures. However, hopefully that continuation of moisture being pushed up to the north. So hopefully there is some hope for especially our southern areas, which will be a little bit closer to that deeper moisture. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.